Bank accounts and more bank accounts. The most common type of asset search that's requested by clients is to find bank accounts. This is part of a hidden asset search that many clients are looking for, whether it's a divorce case, maybe a judgment default, could be pre-litigation. It also could be finding hidden assets for some type of contract dispute. Sometimes a probate event, death in the family, creates the opportunity for some members of the family to hide assets. And there's all different kind of assets, real estate, vehicles, corporate assets, but the most common buzzword that comes up from clients is bank accounts. We want bank accounts. So we're going to talk today about how bank account searching is done, some of the limitations and the opportunities for finding bank accounts. The first question that comes up is there a database? Well, bank account searches are not done using some type of electronic database where a person just types in a name and it pops up on the screen all the bank accounts. It's done through a manual research process using various sources of records and data that will disclose bank accounts, because as you know, bank account information is not a public record, meaning that your bank account that you have with Chase, Wells Fargo, any of the major banks, it's not something that is public like real estate records or vehicle records or your social media. So it has to be searched using accesses where it can be located, most importantly, without breaking any laws. And here's why. There are some very strict federal and state laws regarding the searching and access of banking information. For example, there's the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which is a federal law enacted in the 90s. It's been updated a few times since then, that makes it a crime to do what's called pretexting, meaning that you use some fake contact with a bank to get information. You call up the bank and say, hey, I'm Joe Schmo, give me the bank account information. That's illegal. There's other methods, such as mailing fake checks or using false identities to get bank accounts that are equally illegal. And the important thing is, you don't want to use these methods. You don't even want to hire somebody that uses these methods, because if it's discovered that you used information from one of these methods, it could create liability. And again, we're not attorneys, we're not giving you legal advice, but do your due diligence about how a bank account search is done to make sure it's Gramm-Leach-Bliley compliant. So where are bank account records available to search? Well, what an investigator would do, in reality, you could do the same thing as an individual, is to look through all of the private sector sources where bank records may be located. There's SWIFT codes, there's check verification, there's vetting, there's third-party access. All of those sources can be searched. It's just a matter of labor and time of searching through all those sources to get the banking information you need. Once you have it, you're normally going to have things like account number or partial account number, a recent balance. Many times the bank records will also show recent transactions, a check that was deposited, an ATM withdrawal. And these records can be used to validate information given to you by another party. If a party in your lawsuit says, I only have $500 in the bank, but if they have $500,000 in the bank, that might help you enforce a judgment against the party. If you're going through a divorce and the other party says, I don't have any money. If you find bank accounts that were not disclosed in the divorce disclosure documents that every state has, now you have additional assets to put into that divorce settlement, community property, and possibly able to get sanctions against that person for hiding the assets to begin with. So bank accounts are a very important source. Be aware, though, that other types of assets that may not seem as appealing to you as a client might be equally valuable to search. For example, if there's hidden corporate assets, if there's real estate, if there's vehicles, and you may not think that those are going to help you as a party, but finding those records many times show where other funds are hidden. For example, if you find a bank account through a bank account search, but it only has $500 in it, that's not going to help you. But if you find real estate where money's being funneled into it through equity paydowns, or if you find a vehicle that's purchased, put in somebody else's name, those in many cases are equally valuable for your settlement, pre-litigation research, or judgment enforcement. The reason we say that is because when a subject is trying to conceal assets, they may open up a new bank account at an obscure bank that you could find, but they're also going to put some money in other places. They're not going to leave cash just sitting in a bank account, because they recognize that for the same reason that your first thought is find a bank account, their first thought is somebody's going to try to find my bank account. So they're going to distribute and disperse those assets into other places. It could be cryptocurrency. It may be putting it in a Venmo account. It may be buying cashier's checks and storing them in a safe deposit box. So use bank account searches as a valuable tool, but don't overlook other types of assets to enforce your judgment, bring assets into a settlement. If you have more questions about asset searching, you can reach us at our website, activeintel.com. You can also arrange for a private one-on-one consultation with a licensed investigative agent. That's through our website, teleclient.com. The asset search process is normally something that takes anywhere between 5 to 7 business days in most cases. If there are obscure bank accounts which are at a small bank or at a rural bank, sometimes those may take a little bit longer to get the results back. But a bank account search for assets is an extremely valuable tool to enforce a judgment, to make a divorce or family law case complete, or to discover other activity that may be illegal or not allowed under a contract. But be aware that there's other asset classes besides bank accounts which are many, many times equally valuable, equally important to discover. And we can talk more about that in your particular case, how it might work. Definitely use our website, activeintel.com. It has valuable information about how to do an asset search. There's even an option where if you want to do your own asset search, we give you instructions and even some tools on how to do that if you like. If you have any questions, reach us at our website. You can email help@activeintel.com to reach our help desk, and we'll be glad to be of assistance.